Hello everyone, welcome on in. It is Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, the number one tennis betting podcast and YouTube show brought to you in association with Bet Rivers, your hometown sportsbook. Before we go into the tennis bonanza, that is this week's 250s across the world on the ATP Tour, please hit the subscribe button, please hit the like, give us a comment. Lots and lots of you joined us over the last month or so, especially during the Wimbledon Championship. Great number of views. And we are pleased to say that the views were really great for the preview show of these not so great tennis tournaments, but we have got winners for you. We have got tips. We have got leans that are cashing, and we have got the one and only Mr. Sean Calvert. Good afternoon, Sean. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm all right. I just got soaked, actually. It was, it's been nice in Britain, and all of a sudden it just absolutely hammered it down when I just put my washing out. So, these are the kind of things that test me during the day. But apart from that, I'm all right. Yeah, we had a nice winner with Zuma earlier on. Plus 2.75, plus 175 win. And people that leaned up, I thought I might convince you to have an official play, but you didn't do it. You didn't go with Cerundolo. Yeah, that was one of my leans, wasn't it?
Yeah. I did go with it though, officially on the Betting Weekly Studios newsletter.
There you go. You should have talked me into it, then, shouldn't you? You should have.
Well, I've done that before and it hasn't worked out well. So I think it's probably the best thing to do. But if you are subscribing to our newsletter or our insider, you have had a winner there with Cerundolo at plus 135, I think he was. And if you want to subscribe to that, you can do at bettingweeklystudios.com. It's free, extra content from all the team. We've got a Champions League starts Wednesday. Some teams over into the Faroe Islands or something like that. And we've got picks on that as well. The boys have got eyes in ears everywhere.
Starts in July.
It starts this week. I think it's already started. I think this is last week it started. This is the second week, and then we've got other matches. Yeah, it's all happening, mate.
Obviously, as a West Brom fan, I know nothing about the early stages of the Champions League.
No, as a QPR fan, I don't know anything about that either as well. What I do know is we have some tennis tournaments this week in Gstaad, Warstad, and across in Los Cabos. Not the greatest of tournaments, as we say. Good winners, though, but it doesn't really matter. When you cash a ticket, it doesn't matter where it is, as long as the price is right and value. Cashing tickets, it's what it's all about. We did have 3 matches we were going to talk about in Gstaad, but obviously just before we were filming, Martinez pulled out, which was a bit of a disaster because we weren't going to fade him.
Yeah.
But we do have 2 matches in Gstaad. Yeah, a bit of a nightmare, that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd got it all planned out. I was going to go on to make a case about Martinez being injured and, all the rest of it with Burashaga being a real clay grinder. He would have made him work really, really hard for it. And I was going to go with Burashaga on the basis that I didn't think Martinez was fit enough to win a match like that at the moment. And I was going to go with him on the money line, but he then, rather annoyingly, Martinez pulled out. So yeah, we're a match short, unfortunately.
Burashaga. Do you remember Burashaga back in the 80s? Do you remember Burashaga?
The Argentinian footballer.
The Argentinian footballer scored in the World Cup final in 1986.
Played Maradona, didn't he?
Maradona, Burashaga. Yeah. He was, he was a quality player, Burashaga. 3-2 Argentina won. Burashaga scored. I think he scored the winner or the first goal. But
in what match?
Anyway, the final. Didn't he score?
Oh, did he?
I don't. I'm sure he scored in the World Cup final.
I don't remember. I remember obviously Maradona for that tournament, and I remember Burashaga. But I don't. My memory's not as good.
He scored the winner. It was 3-2.
Really? Okay.
Rummenigge scored. Voller scored to make it 2-2, and Burashaga scored the winner to make it 3-2. Well, that's our only reference to Burashaga today because he was going to be one of our picks. Not that one. He's probably 65 and probably wouldn't take a set off Martinez. But
it might have done in that condition.
Namesake. He might well have done. One match we do want to talk about, though, is the match between Casper Ruud and local boy Dominic Stricker. Dominic Stricker is obviously a big server. He's a Swiss player playing in Switzerland. Casper Ruud here has got a good record in these kind of events, but they have met once before in Switzerland, and Stricker won it 2-1 in Basel. Obviously, it's slightly different here. Ruud hasn't played since the French Open second round. We got beat by Borges. Disappointing performance there. And Stricker has already come through the first round here against Herbert. So looking at this one here, it might be a little bit of a case to make for the underdog. Casper Ruud is minus 455. Stricker is plus 335. Spread 4.5. Total here is 21.5. Stricker is a big server. Plays a lot of totals. I used to like playing Stricker first set overs and totals, but it's a clay, might be a bit of a leveler here. But the last time they did meet, there was 32 games in that match, so there was an over cash in there as well in Switzerland.
Yeah, I mean it is clay, but it's quick clay, as I said. The weather forecast didn't really help me on Monday. It was supposed to rain. It only actually rained until about 9 o'clock in the morning. Then there wasn't a drop for the rest of the day, so the conditions weren't what you would expect. And it's not easy in Gstaad. It's right in the middle of the mountains, so the weather forecast isn't always accurate. Obviously, if it's not raining, then it plays quick. Obviously, it's 1,000 meters of altitude. It's a quick clay tournament. The weather for Wednesday, by the way, just says cloudy and 20 degrees, so not as quick as it was last year, but should still be a decent pace if there's no rain. I just don't get this price on Ruud, minus 455. I mean, how fit and ready is he for this? He's had a knee injury, which means he's not played, as you said, since the French nearly a couple of months ago, like 7 weeks ago. That's quite a long time to be out without hitting a ball competitively. We know he goes well in these conditions. He won the Madrid title at altitude. He's got a good record here. I think he's won the title a couple of times. But as you said, Stricker will fancy this. He beat Ruud in Switzerland last time. I know it was indoor hard, very different conditions, very different for Casper Ruud. He doesn't like the indoors particularly. If you look at the Gstaad records, Ruud's record is excellent. And you can sort of see why he's minus 455. He's won all 8 matches he's played here. Service points won and return points won, total of 114, and 93% holds of serve. So his record is superb. Hence the price. Stricker's not particularly great record here. 3 wins, 4 losses. Service points won and return points won, total of 97 and 82% holds. Not fabulous, but he can do better than that. He's a big match player, Stricker. We've seen him before in majors, particularly the US Open. A lot of people will recall him playing really well there a couple of years ago. He's one of them sort of players that I think struggles with the motivation in the challenges week to week, but when he does take on a big name in conditions that suit him, then he tends to show up pretty well. Obviously, he's had a match under his belt already here. He played yesterday. Stricker played 3 sets as well, so we'll be very much attuned to the conditions. Casper Ruud's obviously not, and he's coming in extremely cold as far as match play is concerned. Just looking at that head-to-head match, as I said, it's probably not that relevant because it was on indoor hard, but the stats are pretty telling. 113 to 87 in favour of Stricker in terms of service points won and return points won totals of that match. Casper Ruud only winning 24% of return points. I know it was indoor hard, I know it was much quicker conditions, but even so, Stricker's a difficult guy when he's serving well. He's not easy to break. He's not easy to get into his return games. Very big server, lefty. It's difficult, and this altitude will certainly help that serve. And obviously, Stricker will be highly motivated. There's a few ways you can play this. I was quite surprised to see Stricker plus 4.5 games as big as minus 122. I can't see him not covering that. That seems a big handicap in a server like him on a court like this in these conditions against a guy who's, as I said, not played for 7 weeks or whatever. That's probably the one I'll go for. But if you want a bigger price, I think there's a few options. Stricker to win set 1 is plus 225. That's obviously got a chance, bearing in mind Ruud hasn't played. Set 1 overs is another option. Over 10.5 games is around about plus 275 as well. So those are the bigger priced options. But yeah, unusually for me, I'm tempted with a slightly shorter price one here. And I think the plus 4.5 games is a big line to ask Ruud to cover in his first match back against this sort of player on this sort of court. So yeah, let's go with that. Stricker plus 4.5 games, 1.82 minus 122 with Bet Rivers.
We're taking the local ad. Plus 4.5 at minus 122 against a rusty Casper Ruud. I did watch Stricker play actually in the US Open that year. I saw him beat Stefanos Tsitsipas.
Yes.
And I think he went 5 sets, and he was very impressive. He's a player that I think he's ranked.
He's had a lot of injury,
sort of mid 100s
issues.
He's a player who's a lot better than that on his day. I'm telling you, when he's up for it.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well,
he's 229 at the minute, isn't he? 229 in the world. He's way, way, way better than that when he's fit. But fitness has always been his problem. Always his problem. Injuries throughout his career so far.
Next match up sees the man who didn't do us any favours yesterday after Cazaux up against Tomas Martin Etcheverry. Etcheverry here is the favourite, the Argentinian at $2, minus $2. Cazaux is plus 160. If we're looking at the spread here, it's 2.5, and the total one higher than the first match at 22.5. Cazaux beat Basilashvili. Basilashvili got off to a fast start, but Cazaux pulled his way back and won the match in a third set. The money, since the pairing has been announced, has come for Etcheverry. Etcheverry has been bet quite heavily today, down to -$2 with Bet Rivers, and could even go lower. And probably the reason for that is they've met twice before, both on clay, and Etcheverry won them both. Cazaux hasn't had a good year, but he has got a win here, and which is good. And Etcheverry is showing some sort of sketchy form, beating the first round at Wimbledon by Pennington Jones, beating the first round of a challenger last week by a player, Pavlovich, who I've never really known much about, but not the greatest performance. Beating the first round as well in Mallorca by Bautista Agut, but the betters like him.
Yeah, he was bigger than this Etcheverry when I made all these notes earlier on. So yeah, he's been better. You can see why. Cazaux was a little fortunate, shall we say, to beat Basilashvili yesterday. We were a little bit unlucky with that one. Basilashvili had so many chances, even before he got to the final set tiebreak, in which he was 4-2 up. By the way, Basilashvili ended up losing 5 of the next 6 points, I think. I think it was. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, to lose the match. A match he should have won, Basilashvili. So many chances. He had a point to break and serve for the match in the third set. He was a couple of points away from serving for a straight sets win as well. But his serve let him down, Basilashvili, there, really. He only got 52% of his first serves in, and he hit 9 double faults. So another dodgy serving performance from Basilashvili. Cazaux really won that match with a sequence of big serves right at the end to grab the win. We were unlucky with that one. But his record on clay is nowhere near as good as Etcheverry's, which is why I was surprised that Etcheverry was priced as he was initially a few hours ago. If you look at what these guys have done on clay at main level, Cazaux just a 22% win rate and a service points won and return points won total of 96. Etcheverry, much better, as you would expect, 53% win rate and a total of 102. So some big difference there between the two sets of statistics on clay. The head-to-head is also heavily in favour of Etcheverry across the 2 matches that they played, both of which are in slow conditions. The French Open at Roland Garros and a Challenger in Bordeaux, neither of those are particularly quick. The service points won and return points won totals of those 2 meetings is 113 to 87 in favour of Etcheverry. Cazaux only winning 41% of his second serve points, and Cazaux only winning 31% of return points. So he's been thoroughly outmatched in the 2 clay meetings that they've had so far. But this is slightly different. It's quicker clay than Roland Garros and Bordeaux. And as you said, Etcheverry is coming off a pretty poor loss at the Braunschweig Challenger last week and 7 defeats in his last 9 matches. He's not a player that is sometimes brimming with confidence. For me, he's the kind of player that does improve with confidence and does sometimes doubt himself when he's not winning matches. There's a couple of leans there. I'm tempted with the Etcheverry to win this by 2-1. I think he'll probably end up winning it in the end, in a bit of a grind. That's a 3.85 plus 285 chance with Bet Rivers. Cazaux's obviously got those 3 sets under his belt already. Etcheverry lacking in confidence, lacking in obviously the match conditions here. Hasn't played a match here yet. I just feel like it'll take some time for him to get on top, Etcheverry. So that's where I'd go with this. I'm also slightly tempted with set 1 overs as well. That's always a fair bet in these conditions because those are a strong server. Etcheverry's pretty strong as well when it's quick. So that's another option. So yeah, those are the two ideas for this particular match.
Yeah, 2 leans there, no official play, just the 1 official play so far, which is Stricker plus 4.5. Remember, if you do watch these matches or if you do bet on these matches, you're able to watch them on the Bet Rivers app or your tablet or your mobile device. If you head to Bet Rivers website or download the app, obviously please hit the subscribe button here. Please subscribe to the newsletter, bettingweeklystudios.com. Lots more content coming your way, exclusive on there. These matches tomorrow, early start, 4:45 a.m. We didn't know the full order of play, but we do know the action starts early, being based in Europe, 4:45 a.m. Eastern time. So if you're going to have a bet on Sean's advice there on Stricker, you want to do so this evening, so don't miss out. Moving across now to Mexico, and a more sort of a convenient time for American bettors. This match actually is this evening. It's 10:10 tonight, going through the early hours of the morning. So it's tonight you want to get onto this one. And it's a match between James Duckworth and Adrian Mannarino. Before we look at the match, Sean, we probably should touch on the conditions over in Los Cabos. Very different to what we are expecting across Europe, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's slow. It's always been slow, hot, humid, high bouncing conditions on a Solflex outdoor hard surface. A lot of the matches are played at night because because of the heat of the day. They played it in a different time last year. They played it in February last year, so it was even slower last year. But they've moved it back to sort of July, August, which is when it normally takes place. It averages 78% holds, 72% first serve points won. That's slower than Gstaad. It's slow. It's slow, high bouncing conditions. So it's a tournament that has actually not produced that many underdog winners. Only 27% on average in the last 7 summer editions. But yeah, it's very hot, and they try and combat that by playing at night. It's about 30, 31 every day. A little bit of wind around as well, but those are the conditions.
Now, we have a match here between Duckworth and Mannarino. Bet Rivers are finding it quite difficult to split the two of them, but in the last couple of hours or so, since this pairing was known, James Duckworth, the Aussie, is the one who's seen the money. Probably not a surprise, really, because Mannarino won a tournament in Newport, and got to the final of Newport in over in America.
It's about that,
Saturday. So he's got to travel across here from that tournament. In the same tournament, Duckworth got beaten round 1. So Mannarino went deep. There is some head-to-head records between the two of them. 4 matches they've played, 3 wins to 1 for Mannarino. And also Mannarino's record on a hard court is pretty poor this year. Only 3 wins from 14 matches. So I suppose the travelling here is the reason why Duckworth's being bet. And obviously Mannarino's poor record on a hard court.
Yeah, I think it is just about that tight turnaround. But I'm tempted with Mannarino here now that he's underdog. I think he was initially favourite, Mannarino, and then I think that it was kind of realised that he's got a very tight turnaround. It's not a million miles away, Newport, Rhode Island to Los Cabos. It's not exactly around the corner, but it's not like it's the other side of the world. As you said, he made the Newport final on Sunday in what's now a Challenger event. Used to be an ATP Tour event, but they've downgraded it this year to a Challenger. And he's going to play, as you said, around about sort of 10, 11 o'clock Eastern time tonight. It is a quick turnaround, but I think Mannarino's motivated at the minute. He's switching surfaces, Mannarino, but obviously so is Duckworth, who lost in the first round, as you said, in Newport. Mannarino's actually got a pretty good record here. Good set of stats anyway in Los Cabos, despite the conditions not being what you would think would be ideal for Mannarino. Slow and bouncy is not normally what you would expect Mannarino to perform well in. He performs well on the grass, slick, low bouncing. He hits very flat. He's not good on clay. Doesn't generally like those conditions, but he's done well here. Despite that, it's probably because the field here is normally pretty weak. Mannarino in Los Cabos, he's played 6 matches, won 3 of them. He's got service points won and return points won, total of 103, which is very good. And he's winning a very big 43% of return points. So his return game here in Los Cabos has certainly been clicking in the times that he's played here. Duckworth's only played here a couple of times, won 1, lost 1. He's got a total of 98, so nothing to write home about here. The head-to-head is very much in favour of Mannarino, 3 wins to 1, and the service points won and return points won total of those 4 meetings, 103 to 97 in favour of Mannarino. Now, Mannarino's talked about what he's up to at the minute in terms of his motivation. He's said he's trying to secure his ranking for the US Open. He doesn't want to have to qualify for that particular tournament. So, yes, he'll be tired. He was talking about potentially not playing in Newport, but he played there, made the final. He did have to play 2 matches in a day, but they weren't particularly long matches, like an hour and a half and an hour, I think they were. So nothing really major. But importantly for him, his confidence is up. He's a confidence player. He's played pretty well on the grass. And he shouldn't really be underdog against Duckworth. The only reason he is because people are making the assumption that he's going to be tired. He might be, but I would counteract that by saying that Mannarino is super motivated at the minute because he does want to get into that US Open draw. And a round 1 draw here against Duckworth, he will certainly see that as a winnable match to get into this Los Cabos tournament and keep those ranking points ticking over. So I think if you are having a bet in Los Cabos tonight, I would suggest potentially Mannarino is the one. He is often a slow starter, though, so you might actually get a better price in play. Mannarino does tend to come out the blocks a bit sluggishly and have to turn things around. But if I could get a bit of plus money about Mannarino, that would certainly be of interest in this clash.
I think you might get it. I think there might be a bit of a move to Duckworth. Just looking at the money lines at the moment,
Might be, yeah.
You know, if you are going to bet Mannarino, you might want to hold on. I think you might get a bit of plus money. Yeah, I think that could happen. So that would be the suggested bet from Sean. Wait for the market to settle a little bit more. I think people are looking at that travelling back from Newport, Rhode Island here over to Los Cabos, and I think the market will factor that in, and you might get plus money Mannarino. So that will be a bet if it hit plus money. But unfortunately, at this moment in time, minus 106. It's not a bet. So just the one official pick for tomorrow, Sean, yeah?
Would have been two. Unfortunately, Burashag match was cancelled. And because of the slow start in Gstaad, they only played 2 matches yesterday. We haven't got anything to look at for Gstaad, which is normally a great tournament for underdogs. So we've been a little bit hamstrung by the schedule and the circumstances today, unfortunately. But we have got the one official pick.
Yeah, just the one official pick. Stricker, plus 4.5 against Casper Ruud, who hasn't played since the French Open second round defeat. There will be loads of markets available on the BetRivers website across all 3 of these ATP Tour events, Los Cabos, Gstaad and Gstaad. Probably about 30 different markets on all these matches. So check out the app, make sure you look at the latest prices. And obviously, if you do have a bet, you'll be able to watch the match on your mobile or your tablet or whichever device you place your wagers on. As I said at the top of the show, please subscribe. Lots of you join us for the preview show, you know, after the success of Wimbledon. It doesn't matter what tournament we are, as long as we cash in tickets, it's all the same. We get paid out in the same money. So hopefully you join us along. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like, ring the bell, be notified of every bit of content that drops here. And obviously there's a lot more coming your way. Betting Weekly Tennis Live, Monday through to Wednesday. A little bit later on in the day, that is 1 o'clock Eastern time, 6 o'clock in the UK. And then we're following that with Fast Break and Hardball, which goes through with Doug Adrian and the American team all the way through the evening. Sean, thank you very much for your time as always.
Absolute pleasure. We'll be back tomorrow.
Take care. Yeah, back tomorrow. Look ahead to tomorrow. Hopefully we can get cash some more tickets. But tonight we just won the bet. Stricker, plus 4.5 against Casper Ruud. Take care.